Hey yo, welcome back to Annie Recapped. Today we'll recap 6 episodes of Bloodivores Time Prisoners. Now before we get to it, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss the best animes all over the world recapped. Alright, let us begin. The show starts with a young guy, Liu, and his partner Angie on a runoff from the police. The girl is worried that they will get caught soon, however, Liu is assured that they can easily escape them. After entering an underground tunnel, Leo hands Angie a box of flash grenades so they can evade the police. Suddenly, a special task force arrives in front of them. Bloodivores are a certain type of virus that cause people to crave another person's health. Those with the virus are forced to put on collars and are greatly discriminated against by the people as well as the government. Liu and his friend Win Chao are chatting when suddenly a person loses control and attacks someone. The police suddenly arrive and kill him brutally. Chao is disgusted at the mere sight of seeing his dead body beaten up viciously. Angie arrives and they head out to accomplish their task, robbing a bank. As they have no password, Chao warns the manager, but despite his intention of murdering him, he doesn't answer, causing them to believe him. Regardless, Leo manages to hack the system and opens the locker. While Chao holds the hostages, Leo and Angie rob the locker of its contents. On the other hand, the manager realizes that there are Bloodivores and tries to sympathize with Chao, but he sees right through his tricks and beats him up. Despite having enough time, Leo and Angie decide to leave as they want to be as safe as possible. Chao doesn't think that they should leave just yet and argues, but with no choice left, he too follows them. Suddenly, a young kid comes out of the bathroom, and Chao realizes how vulnerable they are since he saw their faces. He quickly readies his gun, but the other two stop him. They all realize the situation well, but Liu believes they shouldn't stoop so low to a generic criminal level and be violent towards the innocent. The police force arrives at the scene, and they spare the little kid. As they come outside, Chao warns that they don't take Angie with them, implying that she should get arrested. However, Leo throws the bag of money afar, and before Chao and their other friend can get inside the car, Leo and Angie escape. Thus, we come back to the scene we saw in the beginning. The Special Force, BST, successfully captures the 4 of them, and it is revealed that Leo exchanged the money in the bag with random books, causing Chao to express his anger even though the money would have no use for them. The 4 are taken to the interrogation room separately, and the interrogator asks about the reason for robbing the bank. Since Leo is the son of one of the highest ranked officers, surely he doesn't need any money, but Leo doesn't reveal anything. After he refuses to answer anything and shows persistence, the officer reveals how 15 innocents got murdered in the incident, and Leo is astonished to find that. Meanwhile, a military superior instructs Leo's father, Tenji, to resolve the matter, and he obliges. The following day, the 4 are put on a trial, where Leo contemplates who could have murdered the innocent, but he doesn't believe any of them did it. The judge declares the verdict, and the 4 are sentenced to death. Chao tries to appeal, but security takes him to the office. Leo is taken to the prison where he will spend his brief time and finds his father waiting for him there. His father questions why he did something like that, but he doesn't answer anything. As his father brings up his mother, Leo is enraged at him, implying that something happened between them in the past. After having his hand tightly gripped by his father, Leo passes out and Tenji leaves. Tenji informs the media about his research and reveals that they have created the Child of Peace. His wife comes up to the stage along with Leo, their son, and announces that he is half human, half Bloodivore, a case that was never known to them before. Everybody questions the research, but they assure him that he is healthy and that no fault lies in his body. Leo wakes up and finds himself in a small room, along with 2 other inmates. He opens the bag beside him and finds a weapon inside. He is surprised that the military would let them carry weapons and decides to check the other bags too, but the other guy stops him. Leo recalls being in a prison van where they were suddenly attacked and taken somewhere. The girl is scared and reveals that she is in prison for financial fraud. The guy informs him that he is an assassin, and the door opens. The small rooms open up, and they find out they are in some warehouse. As everyone gathers, a young lady enters, looking exactly like Angie. Leo quickly gets ready to confront her, but Angie appears behind him and assures him that the other girl is someone else. The other girl informs them that they have been pardoned, but they will have to spend the rest of their lives inside the warehouse, Aori. As some of the inmates have been here for too long and crave women, one of the guys quickly reaches to her and tears her clothes. Seeing him behave like this, Fong, one of Liu's friends, goes to her rescue and punches the other guy. Their collars begin glowing, and Liu tries to warn his friend. However, someone else picks out his weapon and holds it against him. Since Angie is behind him, he instructs him to hand her over to him, but Liu refuses. Chao warns the other guy to drop his weapon, but tells Liu that he still needs some answers. On the other hand, Feng is being heavily beaten up by the veteran, who announces that he will kill him right here. Suddenly, the count on his collar reaches 0, and before he can strike Fong, his head explodes. Everybody panics at the sight, and the girl informs that their collars have been rigged with explosive materials, so they don't fight each other. She announces that their mission is to stay in Aori and survive. Meanwhile, a police officer is investigating the disappearance of the prisoners, while another one assures him that they were all killed and that their bodies have been disposed of since they weren't recognizable. However, he doesn't seem to think that's the case, and after going over it one more time, he instructs someone to look more into the case. Back at the Aori, the girl is revealed to be a robot, and a monster appears, tearing her mechanical body apart. It starts attacking the prisoners, and despite their accurate aims, the weapons seem to not affect the monster. Everybody starts running, panicking, and Liu takes Angie to safety. Chao doesn't have any idea what to do and stands there, watching the others helplessly get torn apart. After successfully evading the monsters, Liu and Angie reach somewhere safe, where they come across the girl from before, Cho Yifen. However, before they can proceed further, a monster jumps out of the ceiling and attacks them, throwing Liu far away. Mi Liu is revealed to be a hemomancer, a type of Bloodivores who possess special powers. His power activates and he saves himself from being heavily injured by the enemy. Li Shin, the assassin from before, arrives for their help and engages the monster. After slashing the enemy in the face, the monster goes berserk and he instructs Angie and Yifen to run away. At the main facility, everyone is running away from the monster, and Fong picks up an explosive to destroy the door. They were successful in their attempt, but it didn't seem like it was in their best interest. Angie and Yifen are caught up with no path left to leave, and the monster recovers from the damage. Fortunately, Mi Liu uses his power to save Angie, and the two then help Yifen. After rescuing both of them, he decides to escape, while Li Shin keeps a bunch of monsters engaged owing to his excellent combat skills. As they continue their way, multiple questions come into Liu's mind, but he doesn't find any answers to them. Upon questioning why the robot looked exactly like Angie, she assumes that he suspects her and drops the discussion. Mi Liu wonders if they might not have been picked up randomly and believes that the purpose of their gathering is that someone is experimenting on them to discover hemomancers among them. Meanwhile, the other inmates reach the dead end, and as they are about to be slaughtered, a hemomancer uses his powers to distract them. While the monsters are recovering, the others build up a wall to block them from reaching them. Mi Liu and his group reach an office, which they find quite rusty. He believes that they are safe since the room feels like it was abandoned some time ago, and he goes off to search for some food and weapons for them. As he is wandering through the floor, he stumbles upon a paper which reveals that the completion date of Aori is 2 years in the future, much to his astonishment. He remembers hearing it somewhere and tries to recall. In a flashback, he and his friends are talking in the classroom when the BST force arrives at their school. Their teacher suddenly enters and notifies that a Bloodivores is on a rampage and tells everyone to evacuate. However, he stops Mi Liu and assures him that he wouldn't let the killer come near him. After the noises stop outside the classroom, the killer enters the room and takes him hostage. On the rooftop, he tries to negotiate with Tenji, but the two don't reach an agreement, and Liu's father mentions Aori. As the killer drops Mi Liu down, he is immediately killed, while Mi Liu realizes that his teacher and friends have set him up. In mid-air, his hemomancer power activates, allowing him to save himself. The police officer finds it strange that every Bloodivore has gone missing and tries to look into their records. Just as he expected, Mi Liu's record isn't public, though he does find out that the other 3 belong to an orphanage and decides to investigate more. At Aori, Liu, Angie, and Yifen decide to leave the room to explore further and find that they are on the 4th floor of the building. Angie doesn't believe that they traveled this much through the ventilator, but he notifies them about the space-time intersection. As they proceed further, Mi Liu hears something and they stop. Meanwhile, the other inmates are trying their best to fend off the monsters, but with only one hemomancer's help, they can't do much. They all decide to block the path, but one of them suddenly brings out a grenade, intending to blow it off, so they all die. Everyone is taken aback by his action and tries to stop him. However, they can't be forceful with him as he has his fingers already set up on the trigger. To make sure they all live, Win Chao kills him and laments that he spilled the blood of another human. The others thank him for saving them, but Chen Fong stops them and consoles him. In a flashback, Fong was being bullied by the kids at the orphanage when Win Chao helped him. Although from then on, they were both victims of bullying, and their friendship began. Presently, Fong decides to atone for luring his friends into danger by exploding the bomb along with himself. However, everyone else is against the idea. Meanwhile, Liu instructs them to stick together with him since his power works at a close distance. Without him noticing anything, the monster appears, and they barely avoid his attack. Liu engages one in combat while the other chases Angie and Yi-Fen. Liu figures out how to injure it and continuously uses his power in hopes of killing it. Angie instructs Yi-Fen to open the door while she distracts the monster. As she opens the door, she pushes Angie away, betraying her, and runs away. Angie is hit by the monster and is heavily injured, and Liu rushes to her help. On the other hand, Yi-Fen doesn't find any way and returns so she can remain safe with Liu around. Since he is in a hurry to tend to Angie's injuries, he leaves her behind for a monster. Liu manages to trap the monster but also gets injured in the process. Liu wakes up and finds Angie heavily injured. Despite his current shape, he walks up to her and tries to stop the bleeding. As he is picking up the gun, the monster wakes up and he hurriedly takes out the bullet to help Angie. Though luckily, instead of attacking them, the monster starts to fade and evaporates. Meanwhile, Chen Fong is trying to go to the other side of the wall, but as the way gets narrower, he is helped by another inmate who seems to be in search of Liu's father. Mi Tenji is called up by his superiors to question him about the sapphire he gave to his son. Despite their threat, he doesn't reveal anything and tells them they have no other way. As he is departing, he is worried about his son and hopes that he is okay. Liu, on the other hand, reaches a dead end and tries to find a way to save Angie. As he is breaking the wall, he reminisces about how they got into the prison, and suddenly the gem in his wrist begins glowing. He recalls his father pushing it into his wrist when he grabbed it. After he touches it, a computer system appears in front of him. He searches for something in the system and is amazed that he can access it. He then goes on to learn about their species, the Bloodivores. The system informs him about all types of information, and afterwards he looks into Aori. The system informs him that it was a facility known as Aoko, but due to civil war and military interference, it was destroyed and later came to be known as Aori. He tries to find out about various things, but discovers that the top secrets are only accessible to a few. Chen Fong warns the other guy about the monster, but when it attacks, he easily crushes the first one. He destroys the wall the other inmate built, and everyone realizes that he is notorious S-rank prisoner, Lo Yao, who is regarded as one of the strongest Bloodivores. He easily crushes all the monsters and heads his way forward. The other inmates plan to follow him so they will be safe. Angie suddenly goes berserk and attacks Liu to drink his blood, and both of them pass away. A mysterious female figure appears and heads towards Liu. Li Xin starts attacking Lo Yao, but he effortlessly evades his attack. Yao uses the other inmate to protect himself and eventually gets the upper hand against his opponent. Though he doesn't do anything to Li, despite the other one's intention of murdering him, and toys with him to just humiliate him. He allows Li to kill him, and his collar has a 399 mark. The Hemomancer explains to him what happens if it reaches 0, all the while lifting him and trying to get near him. Unfortunately for him, Yao knows the secret about the collar and kills him instead, increasing the count to 400. Fong realizes that it represents the number of people he has killed. On the other hand, Liu has a dream of his mother who encourages him to get stronger. He and Angie wake up to find that the wall is broken and get out to seek help. On their way, Angie asks why he is helping her repeatedly, and he responds that ever since they met, she has reminded him of his mother, and that's why he has promised himself always to protect her. Suddenly, a giant dragon passes by the two. Angie asks that they stop, and Liu agrees to rest for a while. She requests that he leaves her and protect their two friends, but he doesn't accept it. The two are sitting shoulder to shoulder when she confesses her love. Back at the warehouse, Yao asks for extra clothes from Wang, and Chao asks for his assistance in escaping Aori. He advises that they carve their path since the rule of this place is to survive. All the inmates take it as spiritual motivation and start following him like cultists. Fong warns Chao not to follow him, and instead, they should look for Angie and Liu. However, the other believes that they abandoned him and notifies Fong that he is leaving their small group to follow Yao. Shin informs Fong that he saw Liu escape with others, but warns him that he may not be alive. The police officer continues his investigation and arrives at an orphanage where Fong and the others grew up. As he is asking about various things, his sight catches the attention of some stuffed toys. He finds a small device inside one of them while the elder goes off to look for the list of people who gifted to them. Will Liu and the others manage to escape the facility and find out who imprisoned them? What do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments and we will find out in the next video. For now, if you enjoyed it, leave us a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Peace.